Hello?
Are you still doing stand-up comedy out there, Tinfish?
Yeah.
Well, tell us how that's been going, my friend.
Oh, that's what you wanted to hear. What the?
Oh, I want to hear everything about you, man.
Okay.
Everything about you, whatever you want to talk about.
Well, I'm gonna talk about something. I'm gonna talk about this.
Okay.
When I was 4 years old, I got into my first car accident.
Mm.
I was somehow I popped the clutch and released the emergency brake and rode the truck into a tree.
Okay. Is this true?
This is true.
Or is this a joke?
This is true.
Okay.
This actually happened.
Okay. And what happened after that? Did that cause you brain damage or something?
No. I was unharmed.
Okay. Oh, good. But why did you tell us that story? That must have some significance to your current life, right?
Yeah. And since then, I've been in 7 fender benders and 2 major accidents.
Okay. Why do you think that is? Is it because you live in a busy city and accidents are common?
No, I just think it's partly my fault and partly poor city planning.
Okay. Yes. Sorry, I had an interruption there. The chat room, can you see the chat room by any chance, Tinfish? Because people may have questions for you. I can read them to you if you don't.
I don't.
Okay, well, I've got a friend in there right now whose name is RD. He's from Holland, and he says, sounds like someone's lighter ain't working, and he is correct. I have a butane lighter here that has to be warmed up before you can use it, so I'm sticking it down in my crotch to keep it warm. But okay, let's get back to it. So I've been in a few accidents myself. In 2010, I fell asleep at the wheel twice due to my pain problem, which wouldn't let me sleep, but I'd had to go to work anyway. I'd fall asleep at the wheel and run into people. And I think it has a lot to do with being in the city and that many cars and traffic. Is that a fair assessment regarding your accident history?
Yeah. Yeah, something like that. One of them had...
Are you just
my second major accident happened in Westmont, doing 60 in the rain without my medication.
Now, what do you, if you don't mind, what do you take medication for?
Well, I ended up going through the fence, plowing the fence at during a funeral procession, and ended up getting wedged in between 2 trees.
Holy shit. Well, tell me this. Now, we can talk about whatever you want. This is your show, Tinfish. I want you to know it's your show. We can go in your direction, but I have questions, so I ask questions. I've got some training as a reporter, a little bit, and I want to know what's wrong in your life right now. I sense that there's a lot wrong in your life. What would it take to make you happy? The top 3 things that could make you happy right now.
Top 3 things that could make me happy.
Or top 4 or 5. It's not a rule. You can just run with it. What's on your nerves and on your mind and holding your heart down low?
Just that people are my mom and brother are tearing me to do what they think is good for the family. I don't want to fucking do that shit.
Can you share what that is? You don't have to, but if you feel like it, tell us what it is they're trying to get you to do that you don't want to do.
See, I don't want to move.
Okay.
I tried to stay in that house as long as possible. I don't do change well.
Okay. For you guys that didn't know, I don't think I properly introduced Tinfish. He is a stand-up comedian, very special kind of guy. He's a tough guy, in my opinion. He won't tell you that, but I will. And not the kind of guy you want to tangle with out in public. He'll whoop your ass. But he's also a stand-up comedian, and he's up and coming, just like Ramzy, his friend. And Ramzy and Tinfish have a very special relationship. It's a love-hate relationship, and it's one that I do feel kind of like a voyeur looking in on. It gives me a lot of entertainment, and I feel kind of sick, like, what am I watching here? But I can't look away, you know? So, Tinfish, let's tell people how to find you first. For anybody that might tune out of the show early, I want them to have in their memory, how do I find Tinfish online and find his stuff?
Well, you can go to my Facebook at comediantinfish.com/Facebook.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, that's Tinfish, Tin fish, you guys, not Ten.
Tinfish.
What's another way to find you? You got some videos up on YouTube, don't you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, YouTube. Mega Tinfish on YouTube. It's MEG.
Mega Tinfish.
MEGA.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Tinfish.
Okay. And I'll also include those links on the Facebook announcement for this, like I always do for you. I don't know if it's going to bring you a lot of traffic. We don't have that many listeners, but once our show's uploaded as a podcast, it does get a lot of listens after, too. So you might get some traffic from this show, because people are going to care about you after this show. And the reason they're going to care about you is because you're going to tell us about your life, and you're going to tell us the best and worst parts of it. And I want to know why you don't want to leave that house, other than being resistant to change.
Okay. I don't want to leave that house because that's where I grew up. That's my I don't know, my pet, my home. I've lived there my whole life so far.
Is that really the only reason, other than not wanting change and being comfortable in that house? Or is there something else?
There's gotta be something else.
What is it you don't like about this potentially new place you're going to? Anything?
It's a lot smaller.
Mm-hmm.
That's, I don't know, maybe I'm just being a little rebellious.
Okay. Let's picture it, Tinfish. This is something I like to do called painting by contrast. In order to see something that's right in front of you, sometimes all you have to do is paint the background, which can also be showing the opposite of now. So let's pretend you're in your new place. You get to your new place, you find it's not so bad. You meet a neighbor who happens to have some business connections that have to do with comedy and the local circuit out there, Chicago way, and they start getting you shows that are good paying gigs. Wouldn't you look back then and say, I was crazy for not wanting to leave the old place?
Well, I might be, but at the same time, I wouldn't have known back then what I know now.
That's true. Is there anything you can do to stop this move?
No. Well, we're gonna move. So the house is foreclosed.
Okay. Had you ever thought about moving in with Ramzy?
I thought about it.
Tinfish, would you do me a favor? It seems like you're touching your microphone a lot. It sounds like I heard a cattle running through the radio show.
Alright.
Is that your phone or something that you're touching?
Yeah. My phone.
Okay. Well, I hate to complain, but I think people listening to the show are going, what the hell's that guy doing with his phone? That's a good idea. Let's do some comedy. Tell me some jokes, my brother. I'll tell you one. I'll start. So this blind guy walks into a bar and a table and a chair. Dum-dum-dum. Thank you. Thank you. I stole that from somebody. How about you? What you got, man? Can't think of one?
Nah, I had one, but then you said one and I forgot mine.
I'm sorry. See, I do that sometimes. I throw people off. The only thing I can think to do when you can't think of a joke is play some sound effects here. So here's a fart. Now, you probably can't hear this unless you're listening to the show in the background.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to hear you if I wasn't.
Ah, okay. So you'll hear these then. What kind of comedy acts have you been doing on stage? I noticed that you like to do impromptu. I remember one video I saw of yours where you're like, go ahead, tell me some stars, tell me some famous singers. And they were calling some out, and then one of them said, MC Hammer. And you went off. You remember that one?
Yeah. Yeah, that one. That was,
yeah. I mean...
actually got that dance move off a TV commercial.
But dude, that took balls. You stood in front of all those people, you let them pick the star, and you rapped the song and did the dance.
Mm-hmm.
You're afraid of nothing, are you? I'll bet you can't name 3 things you're afraid of in this life.
You're right, I can't.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. You've already beaten stage fright. So all you got to do is keep working on your comedy act. Do you know that Louis C.K., you know who Louis C.K. is?
Yeah, I know who that is.
Okay, well, he had a comedy act for a long, long time. And for 15 years, dude, he worked to get 1 hour's worth of material. And he just repeated it and repeated it and repeated it. And he said that he watched George Carlin one time. And watched George Carlin going off about different shit every 2 years, always changing his act. That's all you've got to do, man. Come up with something new every couple years that can fill up a half hour's time, and you'll have your act. And who's to say you can't be as big as Louis C.K.?
Right.
I think you can. I wouldn't be saying it on my radio show if I didn't believe it. I think you can be huge. And you know what's most important about that?
What?
I have never known a good comedian who did not have trouble in their past. And I think we can both safely admit that, like me, you have had a troubled past. And only when you've had a troubled past, a depressing past, can you really see the polar opposite of that, which is comedy.
You're right. I have been... I've been taken advantage of a lot growing up.
Well, tell us about some of that if you don't mind, unless it's too private.
That I just try not to remember that.
You block it like I do, but you do remember it, don't you?
I gotta remember it to remember that I blocked it.
That's true. Okay. I hear you, buddy. Why isn't Ramzy calling in? Did he change his mind?
I don't know.